The observation deck of the refuge station hummed with the quiet desperation of 100 displaced souls. Alara pressed her palm against the reinforced glass, watching the debris field that had once been the colony of New Keras drift past in silent testimony to the war's brutality. 3 months since the Genitar invasion had torn through this sector, and still the refugees arrived in broken ships, carrying broken lives. She was the only human on the station. That fact had stopped mattering to her years ago. "Volunteer Alara," the station's AI chimed softly. "You have been requested in Section 7, Juvenile Ward." Alara's jaw tightened. The Juvenile Ward, where they kept the orphans, the lost cubs and hatchlings and spawn whose parents had been vaporized or scattered across the galaxy. She'd avoided that section since arriving, the weight of it too much even for her. But something in the IS tone suggested this wasn't optional. The corridors were sterile white, lit by the bluish glow of bioluminescent panels. Other refugees pressed themselves against the walls as she passed, their various forms of alien physiology recoiling not from fear but from an emotion she'd learned to recognize: pity. Humans were rare this far from Earth, rare and, in the eyes of the galactic community, tragically short-lived. Section 7 smelled of antiseptic and something else, something primal that transcended species: grief. Administrator Krelvac, a towering Theraxian with crystalline skin that refracted the light into rainbow patterns, waited at the entrance. His translator pendant flickered as he spoke. "We have a situation. The Lycorian cub in Cell 12 has been ... difficult." Difficult? Alara raised an eyebrow. "Violent. Withdrawn. He attacks any Lycorian who approaches and cowers from other species." "We thought perhaps a human," Krelvac paused, his membranes fluttering with what might have been embarrassment. "Your kind has a reputation for bonding with broken things." Alara bit back the sharp retort forming on her tongue. Let them think what they wanted about humans. She'd learned that lesson in the academy and again in the corporate colonies, and finally out here in the dark between stars. Humanity's strange compulsion to adopt, to nurture, to pack bond with anything that moved it was considered both endearing and slightly concerning by most species. "Show me," she said simply. Cell 12 wasn't really a cell, just a small habitat room with soft walls and carefully calculated lighting meant to soothe. It wasn't working. The moment Alara stepped through the threshold, she saw him. The Lycorian cub was small, far smaller than she'd expected. His fur was the deep blue-black of a night sky, matted and dull from neglect. Lycorians were a proud species, wolf-like in their pack structures and lupine features, fierce warriors who'd held the Genitar at bay for 3 full cycles before their homeworld fell. This cub couldn't have been more than 6 standard years old. He was pressed into the corner, his amber eyes wild, his small body trembling. "His name is Milo," Krelvac said from the doorway. "The only survivor from a refugee transport. 97 souls lost. Just him, hidden in a maintenance shaft." Alara felt something crack inside her chest. She moved slowly, deliberately, settling herself on the floor a respectful distance from Milo. She didn't speak, didn't reach out. Just sat. The administrator made a concerned sound and retreated, leaving them alone. For an hour, nothing happened. Alara simply breathed, letting her presence become part of the room's background. She'd learned this technique tracking wounded animals in the Canadian Rockies back on Earth, a lifetime ago. Patience, stillness, respect for trauma. When Milo finally moved, it was just his ears twitching toward her. "I'm not going to hurt you," Alara said softly. "Not a promise, just a statement of fact." The cub's translator collar picked up his words even before he spoke them aloud. A whimper that the machine rendered in flat standard. "Everyone else is gone." "I know. They said—" His voice cracked, and Alara saw his small claws digging into the soft floor. "They said someone would come. Someone from my pack, but nobody came. Nobody wants." The words dissolved into a sound that transcended language. Pure anguish that made Alara's throat tighten. She'd heard that sound before. In the mirror, years ago, when the colony ship had exploded and she'd been the only survivor pulled from the wreckage. "Nobody wants me," Milo sobbed, his whole body shaking. Alara moved without thinking, closing the distance between them. The cub could have struck her, could have used those claws and developing fangs to tear open her too soft human flesh. Instead, he froze as she knelt before him, her eyes level with his. "I do," she said, and the words came from somewhere deep and ancient in her genetic memory. The same place that had once compelled her ancestors to bring wolf cubs into their caves. I always have. Milo stared at her, confusion and desperate hope warring in his expression. But you're not Lycorian. You don't even have fur. No, Elara agreed. I'm human. And humans are very good at one thing, Milo. We're good at choosing our pack. She held out her hand, palm up, an offering without demand. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, Milo extended one small paw and placed it in her palm. His fur was matted and rough, his pad warm against her skin. I don't understand, he whispered. You don't have to, Elara said, and felt the tears she'd been holding back finally break free. You just have to let me. Can you do that? The cub looked at her with those ancient amber eyes, and something passed between them that had nothing to do with species or biology or logic. It was the recognition of one broken thing seeing another, and deciding that broken together was better than shattered alone. Yes, Milo breathed, and collapsed against her. Elara wrapped her arms around him. This small alien child who smelled of ozone and unfamiliar oils, and held him while he finally properly grieved. His claws dug into her uniform, his tears soaked her shoulder, as she made the soft, wordless sounds that every parent in every species somehow knows instinctively. When Krelvac checked on them 3 hours later, he found them curled together on the floor, the cub asleep in the human's arms, both of them breathing in synchronized rhythm. The administrator stood in the doorway for a long moment, his crystalline face reflecting the soft light and patterns that might have been wonder. Then he quietly updated Milo's file, changing his status from unclaimed ward to adopted human guardian. Somewhere in the debris field outside, the remains of 1,000 worlds continued their slow drift through space. But in Cell 12 of the refuge station, a human and a Lycorian cub had done what their species did best. They had survived, and they had chosen each other. And that the galaxy would learn again and again was the most human fuck, yeah, of all.